This time we're going to go explore Saddleback Motorcycle Park. We're here in the morning, right outside Saddleback Motorcycle Park. Back in the 80s, I used to ride motorcycles here and race a bit. And we're here with neighbor John. He's over there kind of getting ready. And he used to come out here as well back in the 80s before it closed. And we thought it'd be fun to come here and check it out. They have an open spaces day. So they open it from time to time for people to come out here with their mountain bikes, hiking, horses and things like that. And so it's going to be opening in about 15 or 20 minutes. Oh, she's...
Thank you so much.
Have you been here before? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just go straight up to the top and then they'll open the other gate in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Yeah, she just gave us the green light. And so let's go check out Saddleback Motorcycle Park, 40 years in the future. Okay, so we're just kind of waiting here in the drive up, waiting for the gate to open. And I'll put a few pictures of me back in the day. Most of these are from 1980. And they're Polaroids and other types. So they're not the best quality, but they're pretty cool. This is a good time to kind of go over the history of Saddleback. It was opened in 1967 and quickly became one of the biggest venues for all kinds of motorcycle racing. Motocross was big in Southern California at the time and really exploded, and Saddleback was right at the center of all of this. It had world famous GPs and all kinds of the biggest races that there were, attracting the biggest riders. Roger DeCoster, Bob Hanna, all those guys all raced out here. It was pretty famous. And unfortunately, in 1984, because of liability issues with insurance and things, it closed. But it's still in a lot of people's minds fondly as the greatest Southern California motocross venue. Even though they did have other types of tracks like flat track, trials, hill climb, they had all kinds of things on the grounds. Mostly it's known for its motocross track.
It's like being at Malibu Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Right, pole
It's
position.
like pole position.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
what I was
great.
thinking of.
See ya.
I remember, at least at the very end, probably one of the reasons why they had to close the place and how busy it was and how crazy it was. I mean, it wasn't like stop and go traffic, obviously, but it was so busy that you were more paying attention to the other motorcycles than maybe just your own riding, you know. And that loop, you know, where you're only supposed to go around, you know, a certain direction, and then you can, you know, go to the other various riding areas you're supposed to go on. Well, inevitably there'd be people going the wrong direction, you know.
Yeah, I certainly remember a few times when I almost crashed into people, and several times when I saw people crash into each other.
Right. Yeah. It did seem like that there were incidents every single time that we went there in those last couple of years.
Well, and then that sort of related to why it closed, right?
Yeah.
Because they just couldn't get insurance anymore.
Right.
Well, I think they could get insurance. It was just so expensive that,
they were,
you know, prohibitively
cost out of it.
Expensive. One of the interesting people that I used to see out at Saddleback pretty much almost every Saturday was Gary Jones. He was a great rider, rode in the pro class, and I used to see him there all the time. And you could see at the top here, I mean, he finished second in the pro class. But what was great about him is he would ride the worst clapped out old motorcycles that he could find, kind of proving the theory that it didn't really matter what you rode. It was more about the rider than anything else. If you could take a piece of junk, and if it was a great rider, he could do really well. And he proved that. And I used to love to go around to his pits and look at the motorcycles because my dad was always really meticulous about maintaining the motorcycles. And Gary Jones, not so much. His stuff was kind of falling apart most of the time, but it seemed to get him there and worked pretty good for the time. So he was quite a character that I enjoyed back in the day. So here we are, 2025, and it closed in the mid-'80s. So
wow,
we haven't been here in 40 years.
40
Do you
years.
realize that? 40 years has been.
It's going to be different.
I don't feel that old. I don't feel.
No.
It's like Dang.
No.
That's a long time ago. So I'm kind of wondering, am I going to walk around like in this reminiscing haze and be like, I remember this, I remember that.
Yeah.
Or am I not going to recognize anything and it's all going to look different?
It is going to be interesting. Yeah, I mean, you figure the main racetrack, there's got to be still, you're going to be able to notice that. And how much things have grown in the middle, that'll be interesting to see. But everywhere else, it's going to be really...
Well, I think I can sort of see, or maybe I'm imagining it, some of the, like the main track, you can kind of see it from the road there.
Right.
From Santiago Canyon Road. You can kind of see some of the main track. And even like up here, I'm looking, and maybe you can see like, I don't know, some of it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm just projecting.
No, but it does look like, actually right there, yeah, it looks like there's a trail cut.
This is a clipping from Cycle News. Cycle News was kind of a throwaway free newspaper that used to detail all of the races in Southern California, profiles, results, and things like that. And the cool part about it was that they used to have a stack of these free newspapers in the library at my school. It was like at my middle school. And it was cool when I was sitting like in the library time, I could pull out Cycle News magazine, go to the results for Saddleback the Saturday before, and way down at the bottom was my name. It didn't matter that I was at the very bottom of the list or that it was in the beginner class or whatever. My name was in the newspaper, and that was pretty cool. Check it out, I won a trophy. I'm not sure what the hat was all about. I was going for sort of a look with the cowboy hat. Not sure I really pulled it off, but I was trying.
I do have one more story. Yeah, how cool my mother was back in 1984. We didn't have a pickup, but she had a Maxima station wagon, and we stuffed my YZ80 sideways in the back of that wagon.
And it probably leaked gas and oil and everything all over the back of it.
We didn't care about things like that back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, you ready to head into the wilderness?
Gotcha.
Almost 3 full miles of trails.
Oh, gosh.
Don't know if we can do it. She's probably going to give us a map. If you want another map.
Yeah.
Maybe one for you, and
You grabbed the other one.
I got the other one, yeah.
Cool.
So we are starting off on Hole Shot Trail, which I talked to the ranger, and I was explaining to her what a hole shot was.
Yeah, just the start of the race, right?
Yeah.
With the bars dropping.
And if you were the first one out to the first turn.
That's right.
Because it was always seemed to be like one guy. There was a big line of guys that would start going.
Right.
And then one guy was like shot out of a cannon for some reason.
Right.
And once in a while you would get that perfect traction, the perfect start.
Yep.
The perfect going.
It always seemed like it was the guys that were the factory riders that got the whole shot because they had the most horsepower.
Yeah, or the best tires, or the best technique or something.
Right.
And because I can remember, at Saddleback here, they'd have a start and there was probably, I don't know, 30, 40 guys all lined up, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
And you have 40 motorcycle riders, and they're all balls to the wall as fast as they can go, trying to get to the first corner. And then sometimes you'd see guys going on the very outside, and they would just like right along the fence. They're just as fast as they can go all the way along the fence, and then try to cut in, because in the inside it was usually pretty jam-packed with people, so you could kind of get run into the fence.
Plus, it was always like you'd start out maybe 100 feet, 200 feet wide, and then you're all going into a funnel about
a hairpin turn about
20 feet wide.
Yeah. And so if you can get there first, it's good. If you get there in the middle,
that's bad.
That's bad because you're probably going to crash, or
at least
somebody's going to run into you.
2 or 3 guys go down in the middle, always.
Almost sometimes the last can be. One time I took off and I got like the worst start ever.
But that worked
out. And I was at the very end, and the entire group went on the first corner and all crashed. So then I just putted around them, and and I think that was probably the worst decision I ever made, because then they all came up behind me and almost ran me over.
Scary.
Trying to get past.
Right.
I remember I was riding, and my dad used to kind of be like the pit crew. And so one time, it's a big track, One time I came around the track, and went off a jump right in front of him. He had the sign there like, go, go. And the bike just stopped. And what had happened is like the rear brake, it has like this rod that came and went on, and it had come off, and it just wrapped around and just locked up the rear brake.
Oh my goodness.
And so we had to like fix that. And then I think another time I think I ran out of gas, and a couple of times I would come in to gas up for the second moto.
Right.
You'd open up the gas cap and there was absolutely no gas from the previous moto. It was like, that was perfect, because you don't want to fill it up.
Sure.
You know, you don't want to carry all that weight. Yeah. You don't want to carry all that weight. So you try to figure out how much gas I need to put in here.
Right.
So when I pull around to the truck, it goes boo and runs out of gas.
Perfect.
So I think it used to go like all the way up to this ridge.
Yes.
I can remember just riding and riding and riding forever.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was a really big area. How many acres did you say the park?
Let's see, I think the creator said it was a 700 acre.
Okay, which seems small to me, because I used to go miles and miles back here.
Right.
But I think maybe I was not in the park at some point.
Yeah.
I just remember like when they would disc up the track and then spray it with tons of water.
Right.
I don't know, the soil here is really weird. It's like thick and sticky and
Definitely.
And it just sticks to everything, and you know, it's just mud. I guess mud.
Straight mud.
Yeah.
It's not quite clay. It's not quite sand. It's just.
And so it would be really sloppy, and you'd be sliding all around. There's mud everywhere until it dried. About halfway throughout the day, all the mud would turn into this rock hard ridges and bumps and stutter bumps, and
then the dust started coming up.
Yeah. Then after that, then the next thing was the dust. And Saddleback was always like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like not friendly.
Right. I remember first coming here and thinking like, because I rode up north, thinking like, let me ride up north and go in the wild areas, and thinking like, Saddleback, we have good Saddleback.
Yeah.
And then getting there on the GP trucks, God damn it.
Yeah.
That's like a big boy track.
It is, yeah. Serious. Well, I think we've probably been to some like professional races out here.
Right. Oh yeah.
They had like full on.
Look up on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of video of some of the races that they had here too. It's pretty damn cool. They showed Bob Hanna and Johnny O'Mara going for the whole shot.
Exactly. Yeah. I would always like try to look at what stickers they had on their bikes, like the professional guys, and get like the Fox Racing stickers.
That era was just, you had JT, Fox, and there's like, oh, what do you have here?
You could send off in the magazines and buy like this whole group of stickers and put them all over your motorcycle, and then you look like a professional rider. Oh, there's a start gate.
Yep.
That's what this is. This is a start gate.
Speaking of hole shots.
Whoa. Dang, that's cool.
Maybe I thought it was because usually they're up. You're not going downhill.
Right. Why would you have a start? What we're talking about here is they have these pivot points. This is one of the start gates. And we saw that it goes way down there, because I thought it's the one I remember is like 2 or 3 times this length.
Yeah.
And I was like, sure enough, there's where it goes. And it pivots from this side. So it would have to be up this way. No, up this way, and then you'd be back here, and you would head up the hill. So is this like up the hill, and then you'd make that turn going this way?
Here's the end.
Any evidence of a fence there? Because there used to be a fence.
No.
And you could line up way. That was the outside, and you could line up way on the outside there, and then try to hit a left-hand turn coming back down this way. This is neat. I think this is the main starting gate.
This is.
It just doesn't look familiar in terms of the... And I always wondered like how much force,
Did it
because
take-
when they would put this up, he didn't hold it up by hand. They put like a pin or something in there, a
Right.
big pole, because you'd have 40 guys
Right.
all with their bikes revving and clutches dragging and
Right.
pushing on this thing and just waiting until
Yeah.
the flag went down, and then he would pull that thing, and then I bet it was thousands of pounds of pressure
Sure.
on this
Pretty cool.
on this thing here. This is neat. Yeah, so this would be the very outside. This continued a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
There's
And
a chunk of metal right there. That's the only other.
that's a fence post right there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There was a fence that went all the way along here, and we used to come up, and you'd have to make a left-hand turn.
Right.
But I started on this thing probably 100 times.
Pretty cool.
I always hated the ones that folded backwards. I don't know
Yes.
whether you ever did,
Right, yes.
did those, but there's ones that fold backwards.
Because they don't. You can't.
You
get any
can't
clutch
push
bump.
against it.
Yes.
These were always cool because
Right.
these was like even back
Yeah.
then, this was old school.
Right.
The newer ones were the ones that came forward, and that was more like in BMX
Yes.
and things like that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if you went, you'd get stuck, and then you obviously lost.
Right. '85 or '86.
I know.
I think that was the grandest time for all of those dirt bikes.
I agree.
All the different riders, the development of them.
Yeah, where they came from like 75 to 85,
Yeah.
where the technology of motorcycles in terms of suspension
Right.
and
Yeah.
power, you had like things like power valves that came in,
Right.
and
Yes, the power.
and
Yeah.
full float suspension and all kinds of things.
Yeah. Single shock finally.
Yep. But we really haven't seen like where the track is.
No, it seems like.
I would think it would be maybe through here or something, or
Yeah, no, I mean, if that starts there, I mean, we're on the track of some. It just seems like, you know, maybe if all this brush wasn't here, we'd be able to see something. But
well, I was looking at that video you were showing me, and there was like no brush here at all. It was just like all completely cleared. And now that it's all, the brush is kind
it
of
almost
overgrown.
feels like this feels like it was added, like this walking trail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No.
It's
Yeah.
all loose dirt. And,
Right. I think maybe the track might go over that way or something.
Yeah.
I don't
And who
know.
knows what did they do when they shut it down to make sure that riders didn't just come out here
Yeah.
and just ride, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up around.
We're trying to make sense of it,
Yeah.
but it just seems like so many things have changed. You know?
And the pole, the big telephone pole that used to stick out of the hill up there.
Right.
It a couple months back it fell over.
Oh, no.
It was
Oh, no.
standing for a long time when they
Wow.
first opened, and then
Finally.
I came out I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I was like, "Where's the pole?" And
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, we don't know." And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know?" Like,
Yeah.
And then sure, you can see it now from this trail on Whole Shot. You can kind of look across. There's a couple spots you can see it laying down.
That's too bad.
It's cool because I looked up like old pictures and videos and
Yes.
stuff just to get a feel for the area,
Yeah.
and it's really neat like to be out here to see those old pictures and to like put things into place.
Well, that's exactly why we're here.
It was
Yeah.
an amazing place at the time.
I bet it looked incredible.
Yeah.
We haven't been here for 40 years.
Oh wow.
We
Okay.
last time we came here was the mid 80s.
Sure.
So it's
Well, that's
been
right about when it
40.
closed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's been 40 years. So we were coming back saying, are we going to recognize anything? Are we not going to recognize?
Right.
Okay, we're thinking that this might be part of the track here. I remember that hill. If you just came blasting down this thing, hit this thing head up there or the other way, I don't know.
Yeah. No, this.
Okay, so we're standing on the edge of this road, and if you go here, it goes kind of straight down over that. And that was sort of a characteristic of Saddleback, is you had to be careful because if you were riding off into some new area through some bushes or something, you could potentially just go right off a cliff that's hundreds of feet down,
That's for sure.
and they would never find you in the bottom of that ravine. So you really had to be careful, or there could be some other guy coming blasting up this hill at 50 miles an hour, and
cars and coffee event. Matter of fact, I know they're going to San Clemente.
Okay.
That's the
Not
only one left.
not like Cook's Corner or something?
Well, maybe it could be.
Could be Cook's Corner.
There's like only one big one left in San Clemente.
Okay, we're reaching the top. And there's like a little stair stepper thing there.
11 p.m.
Okay, so we ran into Brian again. I didn't film any of it, but what he was telling me is that this area has been donated to the Irvine Company Open Spaces. So the whole area around Saddleback here, included with a bunch of other wilderness areas, are going to stay wilderness. And he was telling me that they're really happy with how this area has come back and everything is growing. There's plants and animals and things, and it's doing really well. And so there won't be any houses or condos or shopping centers on this area. It's going to be part of the wilderness area. So I was very happy to hear that. Okay, so John and I were just talking about, you know, how when you grow up and you go back to something, it looks smaller, like your family home and things. We were both agree that it looks smaller than it did
Definitely.
back then. I mean, there was lots going on, especially if you were here for a race. There was lots of trucks and motorcycles and loudspeakers and banners and cool stuff like that. But the whole area just looks much smaller than I remember. So we're gonna head up this hill and back to the parking lot. And I think that just about does it here. Hope you enjoyed watching this. And we'll see you next time on Scott's Adventures. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.